Well, good morning, and I want to thank the Young Invincibles, who I've gotten a chance to meet some of you and understand how your organization is adding a voice for young people in our national policy discussion. I also want to especially commend Secretary Duncan for his leadership on this issue. I think we're in agreement that this was an important first step, but it's not strong enough. So we're here to encourage Secretary Duncan and the administration to move even further and faster and more aggressively in this direction. Look, I believe this is the middle class issue of our time. And I think it's important that we have the Young Invincibles here, but in a way I want to articulate the point of view that Chris talked about, which is that actually no generation escapes this issue. You are either college age and thinking about how you're going to afford college, or you're out of college and thinking about how you're going to pay your debt, or you are raising children and thinking about how they are going to be able to afford college. And a lot of people who are grandparents' age are thinking about how they're going to help their children and their children's children to afford college. So because the debt load is so severe, this is affecting people of all age groups, and this really is the middle class issue of our time. What was said at the very beginning, I think, is really true. This has become a national scandal. When you spend $32 billion of taxpayer money and get very little value for it, that is a national scandal. And I think part of what the administration is doing, certainly what we're pushing for with respect to legislation, and also what we're hoping to accomplish through the strengthening of this rule, is to get this back under control. We are getting very little value for our money, and there are some pretty simple things that we can do to fix this. And I also want to recognize Senator Dick Durbin and Senator Tom Harkin for their leadership on this issue. I think Chris and I understood this intuitively as parents and as former students, but it was when I was presiding over the Senate as a new member of the Senate in my first couple of weeks that I fully understood how scandalous and how wasteful our subsidies are to the for-profit online degree-granting institutions really are. More than half of these students end up dropping out within the first few months. Some programs have graduation rates of less than 5%. In Hawaii, just 2% of students at nonprofit schools default on their student loans. At for-profits, that default rate jumps to 24%. For one for-profit program, over 30% of their students default on their loans. Look, when it comes to making college more affordable, our incentives are just simply misaligned. We spend $140 billion a year in federal financial aid of one form or fashion, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Higher education ought to be the ladder up. It ought to be the opportunity for you to advance yourself, and whether that's through a one-year technical degree, a two-year associate's degree, a graduate degree, or an undergraduate degree, that is the American dream, and that's good public policy, but we're not getting our money's worth. My point of view, and this is my point of view, is any institution is allowed to have any mission that it chooses, for-profit, non-for-profit, whatever it may be, but you have no special right to federal taxpayers' money. And to the extent that you are receiving, in some cases, hundreds of millions, in other cases, billions of dollars of federal taxpayers' money, there ought to be some accountability on behalf of students. And so I'm happy to join my colleagues in expressing our support for the idea of these rules, but my enthusiasm for the strengthening of these rules. And we're going to work on legislation, and we're going to work with the administration, and we're going to work with the Young Invincibles, and we're going to get this done. Thank you.